Imagine a time when nothing existed, no Earth, no sun, no stars lighting up the sky, just darkness, endless, silent darkness. Then, about 13.8 billion years ago, everything changed. The universe was born, not as an explosion in space, but as the creation of space itself. In a single moment, time began, energy filled the universe, and the journey of everything we know started. In the first few seconds, the universe was unimaginably hot. Particles formed, then atoms, mostly hydrogen and helium. These simple elements would become the building blocks of stars, galaxies, and eventually life. Millions of years passed. Gravity pulled matter together. Massive clouds of gas collapsed, and the first stars ignited. These stars lit up the universe for the first time. Inside them, heavier elements were created: carbon, oxygen, iron, the same elements that exist in your body right now. When these stars died, they exploded in supernovae, scattering those elements across space. Without these explosions, planets like Earth could never exist. About 4.6 billion years ago, a cloud of gas and dust collapsed under gravity. At its center, a star formed, our Sun. Around it, dust and rock began to collide. Small particles became larger ones. Rocks became planets. One of them was Earth. At first, Earth was a violent world. Molten rock covered its surface. Asteroids rained down constantly. Volcanoes erupted everywhere. Then a massive collision changed everything. A Mars-sized object slammed into Earth. Debris flew into space. And over time, that debris formed the Moon. As Earth cooled, its surface hardened. Water vapor condensed. Rain fell for millions of years. Oceans formed. Earth was no longer just fire. It was becoming something new, but it was still empty. No life, not yet. Earth now had oceans, but they were not empty. They were filled with chemicals: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. A chemical soup. Energy from lightning, volcanic heat, and radiation drove reactions. Simple molecules became more complex. Amino acids formed, the building blocks of life. Over millions of years, these molecules interacted, combined, broke apart, reformed, until one day, something incredible happened. A molecule formed that could copy itself. Self-replication. This was the beginning of life. It wasn't alive like we are, but it could reproduce, and that was enough. Over time, these molecules became organized. They formed simple cells, tiny microscopic life forms. These were the first organisms on Earth. They lived in the oceans. The atmosphere had no oxygen. These organisms didn't need it. They survived in a completely different world. Then came a revolution. Some of these organisms evolved the ability to use sunlight, photosynthesis. They used light to produce energy and released oxygen as a byproduct. At first, oxygen was toxic. Many early organisms died, but over time, oxygen built up in the atmosphere. This event changed everything. It allowed more complex life to evolve. Cells became more advanced. They developed internal structures, a nucleus. These were eukaryotic cells, the ancestors of all complex life today. Life was still simple, but it was evolving, and something big was coming. For billions of years, life remained simple. Single-celled organisms dominated the planet. But around 540 million years ago, everything changed. This period is known as the Cambrian explosion. Suddenly, life became complex. Creatures with eyes, limbs, and shells appeared. The oceans filled with strange and fascinating organisms. Some crawled along the ocean floor. Others swam freely. Predators and prey emerged. For the first time, life became competitive. Evolution accelerated. New species appeared rapidly. Bodies became more advanced. Some organisms developed skeletons. Others developed protective shells. The ocean was no longer a calm place. It was a battlefield. Survival became harder, but also more exciting. Then another major step happened. Some life forms began moving toward land. At first, it was simple plants. They spread across the surface, creating the first ecosystems on land. Then came small animals. They followed the plants. Slowly, life began conquering land. The planet was changing again. Oceans were full of life. Land was starting to turn green, and evolution was just getting started. As life continued to evolve, the oceans were no longer enough. Some organisms began adapting to survive on land. At first, it was plants. Simple moss-like plants spread across the surface. They didn't need much, just water and sunlight. Over time, plants became more complex. They grew taller, developed roots, created the first forests. These forests changed the planet. They produced oxygen. They stabilized the soil. They created new environments for life. Then came animals. At first, small creatures crawled out of the water. They adapted slowly, developing lungs to breathe air, stronger limbs to move on land. The first insects appeared. Then amphibians, creatures that could live both in water and on land, but they were still tied to water for reproduction. Then came reptiles. This was a huge step. Reptiles didn't need water to reproduce. They laid eggs on land. They had stronger skin, better protection. Now life could fully exist on land. Forests spread across the planet. Insects grew massive due to high oxygen levels. The Earth was becoming a green, living world. But something even bigger was coming, a new type of creature that would dominate the planet. About 230 million years ago, the world changed again. Dinosaurs appeared. At first they were small, but they evolved rapidly. Some became enormous, towering over everything else. Dinosaurs dominated Earth for over 160 million years. There were many types: herbivores that ate plants, carnivores that hunted other animals. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4. The land was ruled by giants, but dinosaurs weren't alone. Flying reptiles ruled the skies. Early ancestors of birds began to appear. In the oceans, massive reptiles hunted beneath the waves. The entire planet was filled with life. Forests were dense. Climate was warm. There were no ice caps. It was a completely different Earth. But even the mightiest creatures are not immune to change. About 66 million years ago, a catastrophic event occurred. A massive asteroid struck Earth. The impact was devastating. It released enormous energy. Fires spread across the planet. Shockwaves destroyed everything in their path. Dust and debris filled the atmosphere, blocking sunlight. Temperatures dropped. Plants died. Food chains collapsed. Dinosaurs could not survive. Within a relatively short time, they were gone. This event is known as a mass extinction. But while many species disappeared, others survived. Small mammals, tiny creatures that had lived in the shadows of dinosaurs. Now, they had a chance. With dinosaurs gone, mammals began to rise. They evolved quickly, filling empty ecological roles. Some became large. Others remained small. They adapted to different environments. Forests, plains, mountains. Birds also evolved from dinosaur ancestors. The skies were now filled with new life. Plants continued evolving. Flowers appeared, creating new ecosystems. Insects and pollinators evolved alongside them. The planet was becoming more diverse, more complex. And somewhere along this path, a new type of primate appeared: small, intelligent, curious. The ancestors of humans. Earth did not remain stable. It entered cycles of extreme cold, ice ages. Massive ice sheets covered large parts of the planet. Temperatures dropped. Habitats changed. Many species struggled to survive, but life adapted. Animals evolved thicker fur, better survival strategies. Sea levels dropped. Land bridges appeared, allowing species to migrate. Then the ice would melt, and the cycle would repeat. These changes shaped the world we see today. Continents shifted, mountains formed, oceans changed. Earth was constantly evolving. Around a few million years ago, early humans appeared. They were not powerful, not fast, not strong, but they had intelligence. They used tools, learned to control fire, communicated, worked together. Over time, humans evolved. Their brains became larger. Their abilities improved. They spread across the planet, adapting to different environments, building communities. Eventually, they developed agriculture, settled in one place, built civilizations, cities, technology in a very short time. Humans transformed the planet more than any species before them. Today, Earth is a complex living system filled with millions of species, advanced civilizations, technology, but everything we see today is the result of billions of years of change, from the Big Bang to the formation of Earth, to the first life, to dinosaurs, to humans. It's all connected, and the story isn't over. Earth will continue to change, continents will move, climate will shift, species will evolve, and one day, humans may no longer exist, but the planet will remain, continuing its journey through space. The history of Earth is not just a story of the past, it's a story that is still being written, right now. After early humans began forming small groups, something extraordinary happened. They didn't just survive, they began to build. At first, humans lived as hunters and gatherers. They moved constantly, following animals, searching for food. But around 10,000 years ago, everything changed. Humans discovered agriculture. They learned how to grow crops, domesticate animals for the first time. They settled in one place. Villages formed, then cities. Civilizations began to rise in places like Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley. Humans built structures, created systems, developed writing. Knowledge could now be stored, passed down, improved over generations. This was the beginning of rapid progress. As civilizations grew, humans became curious. They wanted to explore, to understand the world beyond their lands. Ships were built, oceans were crossed, new continents were discovered. Trade routes connected distant parts of the world. Ideas spread faster than ever before. Science began to develop. People started questioning the world, looking for explanations, not myths, but evidence. This was the beginning of a new era, an era of discovery. Over the next few centuries, human understanding of the universe changed completely. Scientists studied motion, gravity, energy, the laws of nature. They discovered that Earth is not the center of the universe, that it orbits the sun. Technology began to advance rapidly. Machines were invented, industries were built, energy sources were used on a massive scale. Human power increased, but so did impact on the planet. Forests were cut, resources were consumed. The balance of nature began to shift. In the last few hundred years, change has accelerated faster than ever. Electricity transformed daily life. Communication became instant. The internet connected the entire world. Humans reached space. Satellites orbit Earth. We have seen our planet from above, a small blue sphere in a vast universe. But with progress came challenges: climate change, pollution, loss of biodiversity. The planet that took billions of years to shape is now being altered rapidly. So what comes next? The future of Earth is uncertain. Humans may continue to advance, develop new technologies, explore other planets, or face challenges that test survival. But one thing is certain: Earth will continue to change, just as it always has. Continents will move, new species will evolve, old ones will disappear. And billions of years from now, the sun itself will change. It will expand, transforming the solar system. Earth may no longer be habitable, but the story of the universe will continue. New stars will form, new planets will rise, and somewhere, new life may begin.